We've got a lot of assistance today in our class. If you didn't catch the posts that were put out earlier today about bringing a candle to class and wearing loungewear and layers, you can do that now, as well as the Spotify playlist we share. And if you have no idea what Spotify is, then don't worry about that. I'm going to be playing the music just softly in the background to, in a way, DJ or set the atmosphere and create that background experience as we go into our timeline and travel into, this is our 5th class of Moon Day Me Time Live here. And we're going into our 4th level, which is targeting the heart, the air, and our ideas. So we're going to get a lot more into that as we settle into some of these long-held postures. In today's class, we're going to be very much like caterpillars and really just sinking into slow, mindful movements in and out of the poses. And the poses that we'll be doing today are a lot more introductory or beginner level. And I have added some props into the class around me for those that are either prenatal or postnatal, or if you just want to create that more yummier experience. Props, like I've stated before, they help to build that mound of support underneath you to essentially allow you to get deeper into the posture, but also to assist you in areas where you might need help with your body and getting into the poses, which do help them to feel better, which then result in a much better benefit for you because you can relax and breathe and actually experience what you're more aligned to, as opposed to worrying about being in and out of the posture in the right way. And so if you're at home and you don't have bolsters and you don't have blocks, grabbing things like pillows and cushions, and a lot of them, because you can stack them up, along with comforters, are things that you can add in. So just think of like things that you can stuff underneath your body, like blankets or pillows and things like that. And I'll give out cues for different levels of the poses and the postures, and for the different stages of life and where you may be at. So you're going to be able to land in a place that feels good for you. And we're going to allow ourselves just to melt into the pose. And we're going to use a candle meditation to help focus and, in a way, help our minds just train where they're at and their ability to manage the thoughts and shift our perspective of them, to allow us to then, like a candle, melt more into beyond the physical, superficial experience of life and into more of a bird's eye view of what's going on. And from that, we gain a lot of clarity of what's going on in our life. And just by taking the time to do that, our system can regulate and come into balance. And so just moving through the postures, even if you're not aware of all of the other yumminess that we're going to bring in, the information, just the willingness to be here and show up and allow your body to move and mold and allow your mind to just relax, that in itself is very potent medicine for yourself. So having a glass of water during this class is super beneficial because we are going to be moving and migrating energies, and you can experience physical shifts and sensations as a result of that. And so in the next minute here, I'll give you time to kind of scurry around your home so we can get ready to ohm in these homes and get whatever you might need. If you don't have any of those supplies, that's okay, no equipment is needed. And if you don't have a candle, I am on the video, you can kind of focus in on mine and use that as the focal point for our candle meditation. And I'm going to get the Spotify playlist ready here and push play. But I'll wait for you all to get back. I'm just going to get it loaded here and make sure I've got all my goodies. And like I said, slow caterpillar movements. So if you want to grab a sweater or socks and have them nearby, because we're not really going to be pumping up the pits of the fire too much and really getting that heat going, we're going to go straight more into the cool down, getting into the yin part of things. So we can get into the meridians and the joints and find what might be going on and stuck in those areas of the body. Okay, so Loki, this is Loki, and I don't know if you can see, Prairie might look like a shadow in the front of the camera there. You've met her before if you've been in the videos. My pooch, she's hanging out in front. And there, everyone, can we join in? Can we be your Valentines too? So with our Valentine's Day approaching tomorrow, we can just invest this time into ourselves and be our own Valentine, give ourselves a little love. So if you've gathered that candle, this would be the time to get it lit. We're getting lit on Moon Day, me time. Whole different kind of lit. Say the natural substance. Get our natural occurring energies going. I love you too. And let's hope you've returned now. My candle, Loki, did you put her out? Did we put it out? Coming back and we're going to push play here soon if I can get this candle going. Things aren't going so well over here, we might have to switch. This is one of the spiral ones and it's not staying lit so well. So I'm going to grab a different one, guys, and I'll be right back. You going to steal my spot again? Yeah. My candle won't stay lit, Johnny. I need you to spark my flame. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe we need the hubba hubba to come in and say hi. Do you want to do the honors? Let's see if I can get it. There we go. I offer you my candle to use and then mine doesn't work. There we go. There we grow, growing our fire, expanding our minds, and using that to focus. So once you have your candle lit, you're going to find yourself in a comfortable seat. So there's different ways that we can assist ourselves even in this posture to make it more restorative and a little more yummy and comfortable. And with Valentine's Day being tomorrow, we can definitely reignite those feelings. And different tools and ways that we can work with our own feelings and igniting them is by triggering memories. And we can do that when we hear songs. And when we hear songs and we think of different memories, we can really get pulled into it. And so we notice how much that energy stays with us. And so as we take, if you saw me rolling up this blanket behind me, you can take it behind your sit bones in Sukhasana and perch yourself up to build that tiny amount of support. And that's for those who have tight hips. So this is going to create a little bit more space for yourself. And you can find what you naturally do if it's left or right leg in front of the other. And just soften the bind and relax and bring the legs a little farther out in front of yourself. You can also take a pillow underneath your bum. Can you throw me a pillow, Johnny? Maybe one and a half. Yeah, that one's perfect. Awesome. Thank you. So taking the pillow, and I'll turn to the side and just putting that up underneath your bum as well too. And not all the way. You want it to be just more under the sit bone so you're creating that elevation for yourself. And be careful with your candle around you. So we're going to do the meditation in the beginning to help ourselves focus, but then also blow it out and remove any fire hazards. And also options are a yoga block. But if that seat is completely uncomfortable for you, you can bring the legs behind you and more of a saddle position and use the same props to assist you underneath your entire seat. So wherever you have found that seat, and why it's so important right now is because we're going into a meditation. We're going to use the seat as a discipline. And we don't want anything else to distract you. So we're going to remove any other disturbances and really allow ourselves to be present and take a deeper dive inward to see what's going on. When we can allow ourselves that time to reflect, we'll slow everything down and we can get our mind back over our matter, and we get out of that rat race and go, which you can get stuck in by consistently being in the sympathetic and that very active state. And so those of us that suffer from sleep issues, which so many of us do, being one very small example and ailment of a sign of lack of just going into the parasympathetic and regulating your nervous system. And so whichever seat you have found comfort in, allow your spine to be long and tall, just like the candle. And if we think of and visualize as we close our eyes and bringing the mind into here, and the imagination, picture a garden hose, and you're watering a big garden of fresh flowers, and the flowers are pink and green, which are going to activate your heart area, your heart chakra, which is the level we're going to be elevating up to today. And when that hose gets kinked and you're watering, your water stops flowing. So we're going to apply that same visualization to our spine. When we kink our spine, so we think of our posture, we shrunk our shoulder, tuck our chin, we're not allowing the main governing channel to do what it wants to do for your body, which is communicate and flow and migrate and move all of the energies in your body properly, connecting you to a much bigger picture, so the science, the geomagnetic and the Schumann resonance, which is applying our understanding of electromagnetic frequency and our connection to the Earth's magnetic pulse, and how we need that actually to charge ourselves. To survive, we need that more than food and water. So we knew this when we started to take astronauts and send them out to space, and notice how much their immune systems were declining in charge as a result of not having that connection, because they've left the Schumann and geomagnetic and out into the galaxy and beyond into what we call space, ether. And so we're going to bring our awareness all the way from space back down to Earth and find that sit bone beneath us. And we're going to allow our spine, our garden hose, our main governing channel, to be really long and tall. Think of growing it. And magnetizing your root, your sit bone, down to, if it's on a block or a blanket or the earth beneath you, just magnetizing it. But at the same time, a bipolar energy of, think of like a fishing string, pulling up from the very crown, the very center of your head, the pituitary, all the way up, back up into the galaxy. So that long line of energy, and then a slight tuck of the chin into the chest. A light engagement in the core. Think of like tightening up a corset. And then shift your energy a little bit forward and slightly back, and find an equilibrium of balance. Inhale the shoulders up to the ears. And then as you exhale, like really enunciate a roll, an exaggerated roll, and draw your shoulders down and plug them into your back. And think of opening your heart and casting and shining it forward with your collarbones smiling. And you can mirror your collarbones with your lips and turn the corners of them upwards. And smile as well and relax your jaw. And allow a big breath to begin building through the belly, filling it full. Inhaling down the nostril, down the windpipe, expanding the core, the upper rib cage, the chest, into the face and the brain. And then exhale and soften and bring the palms of your hands down onto your thighs. And just let something go. And I'm going to invite you into this practice with yourself, with your best friend, where you can just let go of any masks or snowsuits or armor or protective layers you may be wearing. And just be yourself, because everybody else is already taken. And have fun in getting to know yourself a little bit more. And now it's time to explore candle meditation. So we'll begin to open our eyes and bring our gaze onto our candle in front of us and just zoom right into it. Have you guys ever seen those pictures where it's like a mirage of different shapes and colors, and if you focus on it, it's those 3D images, and you kind of zero everything else out behind you? Or you're zooming your camera in to take a focus on something. That is the intent, that is the gaze that we want to assist ourselves in having on the flame of the candle. But softening the eyes, and not compromising the spine, keeping it long and tall. And almost look through the flame. And we're going to use this to assist our minds to just shift gears from everything they were doing today and all the things they were thinking of, so therefore all the cords they've attached to their solar plexus, their remote control. So when you have a lot of responsibilities, you have a lot of children, you have a lot of businesses, you have a lot of things on your plate, you have a lot of things that you have to take care of, a lot of things going on, your mind is constantly going to all of these areas and feeding it those thoughts and the ideas and feelings that are triggered around these individuals in these parts of yourself in your life. And so for the next 45 minutes, we're going to go pause. Because all of those things are only going to get better because you're heightening your vibration. So as a result, all of those things that are pulling at you 24/7 are going to flow with more ease. You're working smarter, not harder. And so just notice as we were entering and exploring that third level next week, the fire, the mind, what you experienced this last week as a result of that, what came up for you in your day-to-day, in your relationships with others, what your quality of your thoughts was like. And as you're doing that, we're just going to ask the air, which is the element we're zooming in on today, on the 4th floor, when we get the mind ready to allow that to happen. So we're shifting into the subconscious, we're slowing the conscious mind down, we're training the mind, and we're using these tools like meditation and breath and postures to assist us in the elements of nature. So as your mind is exploring those things, just slow the breath down. Not a military 5 count, but think of like 5 counts. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bringing a balance to the inhale and exhale, slowing them down. And to let yourself just drift, I'll take over the counts for you. And we'll start this practice, releasing whatever breath you have now and preparing with your first inhale. For 1, through the nose, 2, long spine, 3, soft jaw, 4, 5. Exhaling, 5, 4, draw the tummy in slowly. 3, imagine squeezing all the organs. 2, and 1. Slight pause, inhaling 1, from the belly, 2, the rib cage, 3, the face, 4, the brain, 5, the crown, pausing at the top and exhaling, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold here at the top. Hold the breath in. Relax the shoulders. Soften the gaze. Smile. And then exhale a big sigh. Let it out by drawing the belly in. Clearing breath. And then just go into your own organic breathing. And close the eyes. Close the eyes. And see if you still see an image of the flame behind the eyelids. Or in the mind's eye, as we call it. Center of the forehead. And whatever you see behind the eyelids, just soften into it, into that space internally. Not compromise the spine. Sit tall. And magnetize the root to the earth and the crown to the sky. The bipolar energies as we balancing them out with our inhales and exhales. And shifting ourselves into a state of charging and receiving. Giving our own energy to ourselves. Like stated, we can so constantly give to all those other areas. So let's just take this moment now and open our eyes and bring our gaze right back onto the candle, and your hands start to rub them together, creating heat, just like that flame, like that fire. Place it over your solar plexus, and they might feel weak or raw or gurgly at times, and maybe even now that's getting triggered. And that's okay, that's just that part of your body. Watch out for the flame, honey. Speaking to you and letting you know there's something going on there. So you can always ask and just listen to the internal dialogue of what is this? What's going on? Any feelings you feel at any time during practices as we're moving and migrating energies are just that. Different ideas, thoughts, and feelings and actions that are stored in your cell memory, triggering and surfacing through these tools that we're using to clear out our systems of any false ideas or past memories that just need some revisiting, so to speak. So we're collecting memories and allowing ourselves to fill in any holes or blanks in our timeline. So with your gaze over your flame and your hands over your solar plexus, so just above your navel, imagine all of those cords, so like a big pasta bowl full of spaghetti noodles, drawn to all these different areas of your life and individuals. And we're not cutting any love cords. Actually, what we're doing is we're going to charge those. And we're just imagining scissors cutting any fear cords or unnecessary energy or worry or tension, because these could be to cords of people that we have issues with that we're not even aware we have issues with. And so just imagine like a big scissor, like it cuts a ribbon when something's a grand opening, just cutting through all of those unnecessary cords and getting you opened up for an experience in which you can charge yourself fully and not have to give to anything else. And then as you do that, just blow your candle out. And just remove it quite far out of region so no limbs will knock into it. And we're going to push play on our playlist. And from this seat, come off any props that you're on, but keep them nearby if you'd like to assist them. And you're going to come forward and come out of the cross on your legs. And I'm going to turn to the side to show you guys. And you're just going to bring your big toes together and your knees will come out nice and wide. So from here you can take a rolled up blanket in between your legs. You can take a pillow. You can take a bolster. You can take a rolled up comforter, anything in between your legs that will then support your upper body to lay down on. Blocks are an option as well to support the forehead or through the hands. Before making our way down to the earth, we will inhale our arms out big and wide, like big eagle wings, gathering all the air in the higher mind. Closing the hands, prayer position together, and exhaling down the midline. Sitting tall through the spine. And bring the thumbs to the sternum and just start to tap the sternum. Humble your mind into your heart. And ask what intention your higher mind, your highest self would like you to set for this practice. Listen if anything comes up. And if not, trust that that highest heart is there. And it will be set. And then begin to crawl your hands forward, coming down to your forearms first. Mamas with bellies nice, wide. Knees to make room for the belly. Pull the forearms and the palms back towards you to activate the heart. Take the gaze up towards the sky. Breathe up and down the spine like you're rinsing and washing out with that green and pink breath that will activate the heart. You can take yourself back to that garden to ignite the memory, to penetrate deep into those dimensions, just like sound does. And then when you're ready, you can start to make your way all the way down to your belly. And from here, I will give the different variations. So we simply have forehead down to the earth. We have block underneath forehead at different heights. We have pillow. We have a bigger pillow or a bolster in which you'll crawl and caterpillar yourself down. And then for some of us, it's not going to be comfortable for our neck to have our forehead down. And if that's you, turn your gaze onto one cheek. And then just mindfully remember, and I'll cue you to switch it halfway through. So wherever you are at, in your forward fold, bring your eyes to the gaze, and then close them, flutter them shut. Imagine a baby drinking a bottle, and when you look down, their eyes are like fluttering so big. And you can tell they're just gonna nod off, and you might get 2 hours of sleep. That's the stage me and Johnny are in right now. Delirious deliciousness. So, where you've landed in your pose, what we can help to ignite some yumminess is in your mind's eye, think of a memory that made you feel so good. That made your heart sing. And that could have been like holding your niece for the first time. The first time you drove a car. Your first kiss. Accomplishing something that was really hard. Overcoming some of the scariest shit you'd think you'd ever go through. And feeling like a badass. Whatever experience might have triggered for you as I meander through my memories. I got myself a little emotional. Turn your gaze onto the other side if you favored a cheek. And take a big breath in to something that feels yummy, to that yummy memory. And then exhale and let another layer that's no longer needed of unnecessary tension be recycled back into Mother Earth. And if at any time during the posture you're like, I've been in here for a while and I think I could get a little deeper, remove your postures and allow yourself to come those degrees out of your comfort zone. When we allow ourselves to explore and to have our own experience separate from other people's ideas, thoughts, and experiences, or what's deemed cool or acceptable, we take that road less traveled by and we allow ourselves to feel something different. That's what allows our ideas about things to shift, which will then by default shift our entire reality and give us broader, wider experiences. And that's the whole purpose of being here, learning and living and learning from it. So we have to remember where we've been so that we can continuously learn and not then repeat those patterns and lessons. And those patterns and lessons go parental and ancestral and universal, and they are so much bigger than just our own individual experience. And that's where we get caught up as we start to take things personal and then we don't actually process things properly, and we take things and we start doubting ourselves and discrediting ourselves because we're actually not aware that there's other contributing factors that were at play. So from leaving the third dimension, we go into the fourth dimension, and from there we start to get a bird's eye view of the ideas that we have that are then creating our experiences. And so from our forward fold, our forward fold here in child's pose, and we've turned inward here, we're going to slowly start to breathe our way out of the pose by lifting our gaze and walking our hands back towards us. And you can take a drink if you're parched. And you're feeling things move. Or like Johnny, you're passing out. Any opportunity to sleep. And from here, just lean forward onto your knees, so shift forward. Your palms are going to support you, and you're going to lift your legs up, rotate your ankles, opposite directions, get the blood flowing in those roots. And we're going to have different variations as we move into Malasana. So for some of us, moving into Malasana might have ease, and for some of us it might be difficult, and that's okay. Be okay with where you're at. You're going to shift back onto the ball of each foot. start to walk your hands back and just play with that. Because for some of us, you might be on the balls of the feet, and lowering the heels down to the earth might seem quite impossible. So this is why we have pillows or blocks that we can prop up at different heights or stack up for ourselves. It doesn't have to look pretty. It just has to support you. So we're releasing that image, what things have to look like, releasing that idea. And we're going to put more focus on our own individual experience. And so from Malasana, once you've found what feels good, where you can squat, you're going to bring your hands down in front of you. Mamas that are carrying, make room for the belly by bringing your knees nice and wide, and even play with that movement and just get into your hips, your emotional jump drawers. We're diving in deep. And walk the hands a little farther forward. Mom, if there's too much pressure on the belly, just back off and bring the spine tall. And another variation is bringing the hands forward, pulling the mat back towards you while bipolarly shifting the heart forward. So the mat's being pulled back, but the bipolar energy is then shifting the heart upwards, which creates this really yummy sensation down the spine and in the hips. And then wherever you are, drop your chin into your chest, humble your mind into your heart. Close the eyes. And you're going to get back into that elevator. And maybe by now you've bedazzled the elevator. You really dressed it up. Or this time when you arrived, it looks a little different because you are shifting and migrating your energy. So expect things to change because that is inevitable. Once we allow them. The worst is when we don't know we're stuck and we're like, no, I got it, I'm all good. And then everyone around you is like, no, you've been doing the same thing for 10 years. You're this very self-centered view on our life. And this is why we need to take the time to take a step back and reflect and go in these higher dimensions. And when we live from these higher dimensions and work with the higher dimensions, the higher versions of ourselves, we actually can create much more higher vibrations for ourselves. So then, therefore, it's like, think of radio station. And we can think of a radio station because you're in your elevator and there's always music playing. And in your elevator, you've got power management over what plays. And there you can play with your imagination too. You go, what song, what memory do I need to trigger, and what song will do that, and see what song comes on in your head. I recently shared an experience when Johnny and I were long distance dating, and he had this dream, and we were flying on driftwood, which has more meaning because both him and I love collecting driftwood and making art with it and having it around the house. And if you were at our yoga studio ever in Estevan, Saskatchewan, it was covered in driftwood that I had actually collected from paddleboarding on Boundary Town. But he had a dream one night quite vividly, and he heard this song in the background. And he had never heard the song before, and he called me the next day. He's like, it's country. And he started singing me the lyrics, and I played him the song, and it was just validation of how much ourselves, our memories, our connections, there's so much bigger than what we simply simplify them to at times. We can get swallowed into this very small view of this human experience and forget the magic, the imagination. And so from here you might need to start to come out of the position And at any time you can start to just bend the knees and move yourself up and down, but we will be coming out very soon, so just hang in there with me. Tell your body just a few more breaths. We're coming out of our comfort zone. We're really getting into our roots. And by constricting them for this long, we're going to have a beautiful chemical reaction. We're alchemists. So the ideas that we have actually come from our roots. They're inherited from our cells. So cells come from pre-existing cells. So right now we're going to stir things up and see what we find. And on your next inhale, you can either bring the toes forward or shift the heels and toes align with each other, whichever feels good for you, whichever is available. And then you're going to start to straighten the legs, but keep a really nice big bend and walk the hands forward. And pregnant mamas, wide stance. And for the rest of us, we can do that too, because trust me, it's going to feel super, super, super good. And it allows you to take a different approach for some of these poses, so we can get into different areas of the body. So as we allow that wider stance and we reach farther forward, we'll inhale, pull the mat towards us, lift the heart forward, and then exhale, melt into the pose. Let the neck go completely. And just breathe here for a few breaths. And then slowly start to lower the sit bones down to the earth. Big bend in the knee. Rock the hands back towards you, and you're just going to bring your legs out straddled in front of you. And if you still have those props in front of you, keep them there, because you may want them for this next position that we're going into. And before we go down, we're going to give a little love to our necks. So from here, we'll take our right arm, and we're just going to scoop it behind our back and hug, if we can, with the bind, the top of the right thigh. And then pull the right shoulder down, allow gravity to assist you. And take your gaze and close the eyes. And then drop your right ear slowly to your right shoulder. Slightly tuck the chin into the chest, and you'll feel that pull through the neck in a really sweet way. No harsh, big movements. And then inhale, lift the gaze, and just let the arms slowly come back in front of you. And inhale the right arm out behind you, wrapping around, taking the bind. Dropping the left ear to the left shoulder. Slight tuck of the chin into the chest. Bringing the gaze in front of you, and then closing the eyes softly. Allowing the shoulders to fall down to the earth. Puffing the heart up to the sky. And like the radio station, when we change it, we hear something different. Sometimes we'll get static, sometimes we'll get jazz or country or rock and roll or the radio or the comedy show or the story time. But the point here is you can shift and alter, you can tune that radio station, just like you can tune your frequency, your vibration. With using these tools and techniques. And more importantly, the understanding of how the cell charges and declines, how it works. So on this 4th floor, when you're ready to get out and explore, notice how you feel, and release the bind from the back of the arms. And then bring any prop, if you're using props in front of you, and you're just going to start to walk yourself down that prop or down to the earth. Forearms can come to the earth first, drawing the heart, bringing mindfulness to those bipolar energies. You can really dig your heels into the earth and bend into the knees and feel the stretch in those tendons. My skateboarder over there is like ouching on me. Inhale, fill the body. Aware of what you're doing, give honor to the pose, and then exhale, land a few degrees out of your comfort zone and allow your breath to slow down to that 5 count in and out. And you don't have to show off. You don't have to go to your extent. This is a restorative, yummy yin practice where you're meant to listen to what feels good. And maybe what feels good doesn't look good. And that's okay. Wherever you are, you can bring a block under your forehead if it's needed, or a different prop where the forehead can rest completely on the prop or the mat. Or if you're working with neither, just drop the chin completely if your forehead doesn't reach the earth. And so on this 4th floor, we get to explore all these ideas. Because these ideas, the vibration of our ideas, the quality and quantity of the ideas that we have, they form our thoughts, which then triggers feelings, which then drive actions. So as we were on the 3rd floor exploring the thoughts, the fire last time, the quality of them, and that age of 30 to 40, if we've entered 40 to 50, we can explore that time frame in our life and look at the quality and quantity of our ideas and what our life was like, and how we treated ourselves and others. And if we've yet to reach that stage in our life, we explore the ideas that we have now. The ideas about the cell, about self, about life, about love. And what's really interesting, and as a result of cells coming from pre-existing cells, there's going to be information stored within the cells that's not ours, that's been passed down, that we've inherited. And so this is where the cleaning comes in. We find what ideas we're carrying within the genetic coding, the RNA and the DNA and the programming of ourselves, and the inheritance, the air. And we see what we resonate with and what we don't resonate with, and what patterns and beliefs and cycles are on repeat from our ancestors and these generations and our parents and these institutions and society and these decades of very unhealthy lifestyles, because all of that pain and suffering, when it's not healed and brought all the contributing factors, so the air, the bigger picture, the truth to the story, the history, or her story, or their story. And that's the process of filling in the gaps and the holes. We have to go in and collect all this from going into our memories. This information that is stored within our cell memories has so much benefit to us, because it brings so much awareness in a way where we're to be headed in life and how to handle and manage ourselves. When we learn from the past versions of ourselves that Been there, done that. So then we then search for the ideas in the cells that we're not even aware of there, that are in the subconscious. That's why it's called exploring. That's the homework. We have to go in there, and sometimes we don't want to see what's in there. We don't want to look under the rug. But it's much more harmful to the system to carry this because it lowers the charge of the cell. And when the cell lowers to that 20 millivolts, it's cancerous. And we have lots of ideas that will trigger to us. Just like the idea I have right now to start bringing you guys out of this pose. So slowly bring awareness to yourself. Bring the hands to support you and start to back yourself back out of the pose. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Then exhale down the heart. And we're just going to get into our next pose here. So bringing the legs out in front of you. And we're going to shift our weight into the left bum cheek and put weight into our left hand so that we can lift the right leg and bend at the knee and set it behind us in a saddle pose. So I'll turn the other way so you can see. So from here, if it's available to you, we're going to start to walk back on the hands onto the forearms. Now this is where you can use your props and your bolsters as well, putting them behind you to create a form of support, and you can set it up so it's on an incline. And my pregnant mamas, do not come all the way onto your backs if you start to feel too much pressure. You can play with it, see if it's available, but baby and body are going to tell you right away, and ultimately listen to them. You are staying 1 degree out of your comfort zone and absolutely listening to the body and baby at any time and putting them first. This isn't about pushing your body to any extremes. It's already going through such an extreme expansion. So in our half saddle pose, wherever you've landed, close your eyes. If you're on your forearms, tuck your chin into your chest. Gaze into the backs of the eyelids. Bring yourself back into the fourth floor, to the ideas that are stored. That have been passed down. So as stated, we'll have all of these ideas that will be sparking for us to try and nudge us or wiggle us into different areas of our life, to different things that start to be like repetitive thoughts, where I get this idea of pottery keeps coming up, or I should start doing clay, or yoga keeps coming up, or I keep having this memory come up, or this person keeps coming up. Anything that's repetitively showing up for you through idea or thought is the subconscious sending you subliminal messages to things that will help you bring more peace, more balance, more regulation, more joy, more assistance, or any form of resources you might need into your life. And so as the cells start to decline in charge, we'll get these ideas of like, maybe I should take a break. Maybe I should slow down. Maybe I should go for a massage. So start to explore those experiences in your life. Those subliminal messages from your air, from your heart. as we explore this fourth floor, the fourth dimension. And use the breath, the 5 inhales and exhales, to regulate and charge the cells. So you're keeping that radio station high, your frequency high. And with every exhale, think of letting something go that's weighing you down. That maybe you might have interpreted wrong. And allow in new ideas. Be willing to see a fresh perspective. From personal experience that has the power to heal you off of a deathbed. On your next inhale, rinse through the spine, that beautiful pink and green light activating the heart. And exhale. Let go maybe an old perspective or old idea that shifted just from their time in this practice with yourself. And wherever you are, start to bring awareness back to the body. Come down to the forearms or onto the hands, your journey up. Straighten the right leg out in front of you. Give it a nice knock. Shift over onto the right arm cheek. Lift the left leg, nice big bend, setting it beside you. And make your way back into half saddle on this pose in whichever variation feels good for you, and it might be different on a different leg. And that gives us the sign of our left and right sides in which we favor, which we prefer. Some of us like the high, the light, and some of us like the low, the dark. Neither better than one or the other. Just needing to learn about the other part of ourselves to bring balance. Why we reject, or why we avoid, or why we favor, or why we prefer. The why brings our mind into the matter and balances out our elements. And we don't have the why, and we just do without knowing really why and all the contributing factors. There's so much water and earth in those elements. There's so much of the go, 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 go. So much matter. So much yang, and we don't have enough of the yin in that. When we don't know why, what ideas and thoughts are driving our feelings and our actions, we become imbalanced. And we can then start to be pulled and pushed and driven by ideas and thoughts that are not even our own. And we take on other people's experiences or ideas about things, and they're only getting with where they're vibrating at. So to take on their energy, you're giving your own power and your own ability to create a way. You're letting their minds come over your matter. And then you will start to experience and pull and feel a lot of what they're going through in their life, and sometimes subconsciously without even knowing it. And that's the answers to a lot of our ailments and our issues. And then when we take them on and think they're our own and we label them, then we give them a home in our own. So in this navigating process, we get to go through ourselves and find what ideas and thoughts and even feelings and experiences we've taken on that have then affected us in less than savory ways. And that's okay, we don't judge ourselves for it. We just go, okay, I learned I don't want to do that anymore. We breathe, and we exhale, and we let it go. And take the drama right out of it. Take our power right back. Your next inhale, start to make your way back up to sitting, stretching the left leg out in front of you. And from here, just slide your bum forward. And you're going to roll all the way down on the spine, coming into Shavasana, but start with your knees standing. Pregnant mommies and those who need modifications, we're going to come into a modified Shavasana. So you're going to come onto your side, and you're going to take something for a pillow for your head, and also a big pillow for in between your legs. You can also be up on a bolster if you have one, supporting you too. That's really yummy as well. Just make sure you're balanced and you can't fall. And you're going to come all the way down like this, mama. And postnatal mommies, this is a nice one for you too. And just taking a gentle journey back into your body and allowing the process. Being grateful for everything that it just created and went through. So begin to straighten your legs, bringing all parts of the back of the body down to the earth. Coming all the way to Shavasana or corpse pose. Or what could look like a starfish. And the feet can flop out to the side. And let's bring our left hand onto our heart. And our right onto our navel, if that feels good for you. And allow a breath to first push into the right hand. Filling the belly. And then into the left, filling the heart. Keep them expanded and full, and inhale all the way to the cheeks and the brain and the crown. Hold the breath here at the top for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly exhale it out. Find your organic breath. Close your eyes. And allow yourself in this moment, in these moments, to reflect. If you've been doing the last few classes, you can reflect on where you started to where you are now, and if anything's shifted or changed in your life, if you become aware of anything more. How your body feels, how sleep is. And for those of you just joining us for the first time, just reflect on the last few weeks of this Aquarius season. The Leo full moon cycle, and Valentine's Day approaching. Just scan over your routines, your relationships, quality of your thoughts, and the quantity of them if they've been overwhelming, and the ideas that may have come in, little light bulb moments. Or ideas to do new things, or try new things, or ideas about the self, or about your health, or your family, your love life, whatever ideas have been marinating. Let's not avoid them, and let's sit with them, let's steep with them. But from a bird's eye view. Noticing if any of them you don't resonate with, or if any of these ideas have been accomplished, or if any of them have been on repeat, and you're like, okay, maybe I'll look at that now. This is the opportunity to just zoom in without judgment. It starts with becoming aware. From then we can give it care, air, a little more of our attention. The ion, the atom, the protons and neutrons, electrons, the nucleus all working together. Union, unit. And how those tiny little particles, these molecules, these macromolecules, these tissues and these systems. When you get two or more systems working together, you can get an organism, and that's us, we're humans, goats and monkeys. And so that organizing our organism, or tuning our organ, we've got notes like an organ, light and dark. And all the beautiful array of hues in between. And our frequencies need tuning and toning as well, so we don't get any static in our stations, so to speak. Inhale the pink and green hue up and down the spine, just visualizing some flowers out of those colors to assist the mind. Lengthening and humbling the mind into the heart. And begin turning the head from side to side, if that's available for you, or up and down, within the fingers and the toes. You can allow a big stretch, reaching your arms away, your hands as far as away from your toes, puffing your chest up with air as we're honoring it and embracing all of our ideas, our story, our history, and being open to any shifted perspective that might be needed to assist ourselves in moving forward with more peace and ultimately acceptance. That is what governs this part of the heart chakra, the fourth dimension. And that's not condoning things that are quite imbalanced. That's going, I understand why it all happened, why it was attracted, why it was created. And that can only be accomplished from taking a step back, a universal view, getting all perspectives, all sides, and all contributing factors from even an ancestral and generational contributing factor that assisted in creating these situations, because patterns and habits and loops will continue until we become aware, give them care, and work at stopping them. Stopping, tuning in, organizing, and processing them properly. And begin to slowly make your way up to a seat, rolling your spine up by assisting your hands to press yourself up. Take your time, your energy, your power. This is your practice. And then bring your awareness back to that intention that was either given to you or that you trusted was there. And if you didn't get an answer at the beginning of the practice, you can ask now and see if there's a shift in your vibration, and you can hear the more subtle, sensitive frequencies as you cleared out and made space and room for them. Then inhale through the belly, puff the heart all the way to the third eye, and exhale down the back of the brain, the back of the neck, back of the heart, all the way down the sacrum into the root, recycling it back into Mother Earth. Another round, inhaling through the belly, the heart, taking an orbit through the third eye, up to the pituitary gland, down the back of the head, the back of the neck, exhaling all the way down into the root. Inhale, filling all the way up like a big pink balloon. And then exhale, let the balloon go without tying it. Release the breath. Slowly bring your gaze back in front of you. Welcome yourself back into the room. Inhaling the arms overhead, finding prayer position. Exhaling the hands down the midline. And pressing the thumbs back into the heart. And imagining yourself getting back into your elevator. And coming back into your room, into your home. So all of you is present energetically and physically. And then place both palms of the hands, heating them up first. Over the heart, humbling the mind into the chest, and bowing down into Mother Earth and thanking her for letting me play another day. And I'm wishing you all a yummy Valentine's Day tomorrow, whether that's just time with yourself or time with loved ones. Just remember that these practices of self-love should be honored more than just a month or one day. This is something that is a daily practice. From that love, that energy you give to yourself, you will see it flourish and ripple outward. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Journal, ritual, bath, bed. Do what idea pops up for you when you ask yourself. And I will see you guys next Moon Day, Monday on the mat. If anyone is interested in one-on-one mentorship, I have a few spaces left just for the next wave here of clientele I can take on. So if you're interested, or if you've had that nudge or pull or wiggle, you can message me directly and we can work on a wellness mentorship program for you. That is something I've been doing for about a decade now. So I love to help others through my own experiences. And if you just want some yummy yoga, you can go on to www.sageandcenter.com. It's our virtual studio, and you can sign up for a free library and have a spoonful of what we have to offer online. Mwah! Namaste.